Hey, wasn't it good to have Bo Stinking Dukes back in the house? Oh my goodness. I walked in during rehearsal and I saw a fedora and I'm like, Bo Dukes. That's who that is. I think Bo's already in the back room kind of taking his pack off or whatever. But I'm so thankful for Bo. And I had a moment during worship today where his daughter Lainey was next to him and she's singing that song, The Blessing. So it's really cool to see, like, you know, his daughter singing. And then I looked over, and Bo's sister is in the house. Heather is somewhere, and I saw Heather's son playing the drums over here. And it's just so cool to see the next generation doing it. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I am aging out already, all right? Like, let's let these kids take it. And then Jonah right here was still doing, stand up, Jonah. You still want to be able to see him because he's a little dude. Jonah's doing the cameras over here, man. Thank you for helping out, man. All right, you can take a seat, man. I know you'd stand the whole time. Jonah came to me this morning and he said, what is a volunteer? And I told him, and he's like, I do that. And I'm like, yeah, you do that, man. Anyway, hey, one other thing I want to say before I get rolling. Pastor Cotter has preached the last 3 weeks and absolutely crushed it. And so, yeah, let's just show him some love. Cotter's getting a much-deserved break today, but hopefully he watches this. And, man, I just love you, Cotter. I'm so thankful for you, man. And I'm pumped today because we are starting this brand new series called Summer Vibes right now. And come on, it's summer, people. It's that time of year. It's barbecue season. It's beach chair season. It is, you can't get into your favorite restaurant because there's so many darn people stuffed into this town season. It is no free parking on the avenue anymore season. Come on, somebody. It is now $3 an hour. An hour. Listen, I remember back in the day where you could use a quarter and you got minutes. 30 minutes. Sometimes some of you more, you got more than that. Okay, now I think you get 17 seconds and a fine. Listen, you know what I can do with a quarter, though? I can go over here. I can buy a whole shopping cart over at Aldi. Come on, somebody. Woo! Anyway, hey, speaking of back in the day, how many of you are old enough, you got some gray hair, and you remember when TV only had 3 channels? Come on, raise your hand if you're old enough. You can still raise your hand, okay? Three channels. Oh my goodness, that's all we had. Listen, my first TV, it didn't have a remote. It had a dial. I had to get up off the couch and hand crank the dial. And not only that, if there was a cumulus cloud over my house, I had to hand crank the antennas. Does anybody have any flashbacks right now? 3 channels, that's all we had. And then one day, I remember I was like 8 years old. I went to my friend Kurt's house, and Kurt had 30 channels. I was like, what is this? And Kurt's like, our family just got a satellite dish. And I'm like, what's a satellite dish? And he's like, go out into my yard. And look, Kurt had one of these out in his yard. I'm like, do they work for NASA? Like, what is this? Like, can you talk to aliens through this thing? And this is how Kurt got 30 channels. Now, in my house, we never got a satellite dish, all right? We were the family that we would walk down to the VHS rental store by my house called Country Video, which you know you're a hillbilly if your video store is called Country Video. But that's how we watch TV, Country Video. But that was back in the day. Now, if you're like 20 years old or younger, I just confused you, so I'm going to bring you all kind of back to this. Because nowadays, we don't really do satellite dishes. We do streaming services. And so I just want to see what I'm working with today. I want you to think about how many streaming services you have in your house. Okay, so if you have at least one streaming service, raise your hand and keep it up. Keep it up, you got one. Okay, some of you are like, well, I got Netflix with 87 friends. Okay, does that count? Yeah, all right, that counts, but it's called stealing. All right, 2 streaming services or more, keep them up. 3, 4, 5. Okay, we have Celebrate Recovery on Thursday nights. Y'all need help. Now, we have six streaming services in my house. And maybe you're like, well, do you pay for all those pastors? Listen, don't you worry about your own house, okay? This ain't about my house. Anyway, every night, listen, it's super busy in my house. All day long, everybody's go, 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 go. But every night, me and my wife from 8 to 9, we get in our favorite spots on the couch. We ban the kids from the entire downstairs. And we sit and we watch 1 hour of completely uneducational streaming TV. Come on, if you're a parent with some young kids, give me an amen if you got to numb out to Netflix every once in a while. Come on, you know what I'm talking about? And so we just sit there. Now, there's only one little problem. We sit there and watch streaming whatever. And this happens every time, all right? We sit there, and the moment the show starts, my wife starts asking me questions. None of which have anything to do with what we're watching on the TV. All right, this happened a few weeks ago. We're watching this documentary on the Duggars, all right? The moment we sat down, Stacy is asking me like 947 questions. She hasn't asked me one question all day long. But they all happen during the show, all right? And she will cram 100% of her questions into the last 4% of the day. Now, you all know I love my wife. I do. Listen, it's a wonder she even married me. She is a smoke show, and I'm a bald preacher, all right? It's not even... But we may need marriage counseling over this issue. And I try not to be rude with my answers, so I just try to use my body language to tip her off that I don't want to, answer these questions, so I'll just be like... not that one. But this is what she says. This is what happens. All right. Every night, she'll in the middle of that, when I'm doing all my body language things, she'll say, "Honey, give me the remote control." Now, I'm gonna be honest. Between you and I, she's in the next service. I don't feel comfortable with that at all. But I'll give her the remote, and she'll hit pause, and she'll look at me, and she'll say, "Are you happy?" And I'm thinking, I'm confused. I don't know what's on this TV right now. That's why I am confused right now. But every night, she just pauses the TV and she says, are you happy? And listen, I am happy. I married my dream girl. I have 2 amazing kids. You all let me be a preacher. That's amazing. It's summer. It is summer. I love the summer. I am happy. But I will be happier if I could watch this TV and figure out what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Everybody say happy. Now, I'm going to ask you the same question that Stacy asks me every night at 8:30. I'm sure she'll ask me this tonight. We'll put this question on the screen. Are you happy? Are you happy? Now, listen, okay, some of you said yes. You probably thought one of 3 things, and I know what you thought because I'm a preacher. I can read minds, okay? So, you either thought, yes, I'm happy. Thanks for asking. Some of you said it out loud. Some of you are like, no, I'm not. Thanks for asking. And then most of us are like, it depends. Are you talking to me during Netflix? And is there a credit card bill in the mail? And are you going to wrap this up in 30 minutes or less, Pastor? I haven't preached for 3 weeks, so probably not, okay? Everybody say, it depends. Now, it does depend. Our happiness does depend on something, but probably not on what you think it depends on. According to a guy named, anybody want to take a guess? Yeah, there it is. I always tell you, Jesus is always the answer in church, okay? So, listen, Jesus, I think, for the most part, wants our answer to this question to be yes. But I think Jesus wants us to unhitch our happiness from it depends on whatever and hitch our happiness up to depending on Him. Summer vibes. Okay, so let me tell you where I'm coming from on all this. Jesus taught the most famous message He ever taught. It's a sermon. He taught it on a mountain. Okay, and does anybody know what this sermon is? I'm giving you tips. Okay, I'm giving you hints. Sermon on the Mount. Okay, yeah, I just fed you this basically. And so Jesus in Matthew 5 through 7, it's the Sermon on the Mount, and Jesus starts out with what's called the Beatitudes. Now, I'm gonna be honest. When I was a kid, I thought a beatitude was a bad attitude. And I had a beatitude a lot, okay? But a beatitude does not mean a bad attitude. A beatitude means supremely blessed. Everybody say supremely blessed. Supremely blessed. Now, I'm going to show you in the Sermon on the Mount how Jesus connects our blessings with our happiness. So we'll throw this on the screen. The very beginning of the most famous message Jesus ever taught, Matthew 5, starting in verse 1. One day, as he, Jesus, saw the crowds gathering, Jesus went up on the mountainside, which is why we call it the Sermon on the... There you go, you're tracking with me. And he sat down. His disciples gathered around him, and he began to teach them. And Jesus said, God what? Blesses, hold on to that, those who are poor, and realize their need for him. For the kingdom of heaven is theirs. Now, question. Have you ever been poor and thought, oh man, I am so blessed? No. Okay, listen, nobody rocks over here to the Aldi and like, I can't even afford a quarter to buy one of these here carts. I'm blessed, hallelujah. I'm going to celebrate with some ramen noodles. No, okay. Jesus isn't saying that, like financial poverty is a blessing. It's amazing. Hello, okay. Jesus is talking about spiritual poverty. And he's saying when you go through life knowing that you're spiritually poor without me in your life, that is a blessing. When you depend on me every single day like you depend on air, that is happiness. Now, that word happy, using that in church, it's dangerous for me to use it. Okay, like I could get some one-star Google reviews for this message because I'm using the word happy. Because mature Christians, seasoned Christians prefer the word joy. They prefer, lemon-scented polish for their halos, their angel halos. But I am very happy to use the word happy. Now, let me tell you why I'm very happy to use the word happy. This word blesses here in the original Greek is the word makarios. Everybody say makarios. Oh, look at you all. Okay, here's what makarios means. It means happy. Whoop! It means blessed. It means to be envied. It means realizing you are favored by God. Let's read this definition out together because darn, it's so good. Okay, makarios means happy, blessed, to be envied, realizing you're favored by God. So if you don't like that I'm using the word happy, email Jesus. You can always email him at Jesus said it, not me, at the golden streets of heaven or something. I don't know. But Jesus used the word happy. And don't miss this. Jesus starts his most famous message of all time with this idea that me and you and we can be happy even if what's happening in our life isn't all that happy. And so I want to show you how that can work. And so 3 ways, and we'll put this on the screen, 3 ways we can say, yes, I am happy. All right, the first idea today is this. Depend on God for everything. Depend on him for everything. Now, for the last 3 weeks, I mentioned this earlier, Pastor Cotter has been crushing it. But for the last 3 weeks, that means a Philadelphia Eagles fan has had the microphone. Which means for 3 weeks, I have not gotten to harass you, Eagles fans. But I'm back. Now, I have no issue with Eagles fans. It's the Steelers fans that I have issue with, okay? You're the real enemy. No, but I'm so psyched for football season this year. I cannot wait, and I think if the Ravens are ever going to have a year, this is our year. There's like 2 Ravens fans. I don't care, all right? Listen, I am so pumped. Like, I probably just jinxed it, but like, I think if we're ever going to make a Super Bowl run, this is our year. This is it. Now, speaking of the Super Bowl, most of the time when I'm watching it, my team is not in the Super Bowl. You Washington Commanders fans, you know what I'm talking about. So most of the time when my team isn't in the Super Bowl, you know what I'm looking forward to the most about the Super Bowl other than food? The halftime show. And then I watch the halftime show and I feel dirty and I have to go take a shower or something to clean off. But pastor confession, my most favorite recent halftime show was the Snoop Dogg Dr. Dre halftime show. Come on, anybody with me? Yeah, look at this. By the way, if anybody wants to buy me this blue tracksuit, listen, it's not my style, but I will preach in it. I will go to Wawa in it and get a hoagie from Hoagie Fest. Like, I'll be all about it. But I'll be honest, I did not listen to Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre growing up. All right, I grew up in a very strict Christian household. We listened to Christian rap. Carmen, DC Talk. That's what I'm talking about. Not exactly the same. So when I was watching the halftime show, I didn't know any lyrics, but I was like, man, this is amazing. All right, and then 50 Cent came on, and I was like, kids, earmuffs, because, like, that's not the values we're trying to teach your kids. But anyway, the whole time during the halftime show, I was just sitting there, and all I thought was, how old are these guys? Like, Snoop Dogg was popular when Kurt's parents were putting NASA equipment in their yard. I mean, this is been famous a long time. So the whole Super Bowl halftime show, I'm on my phone, and I'm like, how old is Snoop Dogg? How old is Dr. Dre? Wait, Eminem is still alive? Like, how old am I that I'm Googling this the whole time I'm supposed to be watching the Super Bowl halftime show? And by the way, I found out this week, Snoop Dogg is 51, Dr. Dre is 58, and when I Googled that, on the same page that it showed their ages, it showed me Martha Stewart is 81. I'm like, why are you connected? How is Martha Stewart connected with Snoop Dogg? Like, maybe she makes some brownies. I don't know. Stop it. She makes, anyway. Come back to me. We're in church. But I grabbed my phone and was looking up their ages. Listen, I grab my phone. I depend on my phone for everything. I look up people's ages. I will not go to a restaurant unless I look it up ahead of time. Does anybody else do that? Okay, like we're using our phones for everything. Even if my kids ask me a question about the Bible. Listen, I know I'm a pastor, but it's a big book. So I'll be like, kids, Daddy's got to go to the bathroom real quick. I'm like, Google, where are dinosaurs in the Bible? Anyway, so I asked all this stuff. I depend on my phone every single day. How many of you depend on your phone every single day? Raise your hands if you do. Yeah, and get this, they've only been around for 15 years. In 15 years, we've learned to depend on a phone for everything. But if you want more joy, if you want more happiness, if you want to have that blessing, that makarios in your life, what if you depended on God more than you depended on that phone? What if this week, every time you go to grab for your phone, it is a reminder for you to depend on God instead? What if we did that? Now, let's kind of play this out. Like, let's play with the whole, like, reminded when you grab your phone to depend on God. Let's say that tomorrow morning, your alarm is going off for the 73rd time. Some of you know who you are. And you go to depend or grab your phone to turn off the alarm. What if that was a reminder? Oh, wait. God is the one who is my daily bread. He's the one who's going to get me through the day. Or when you get a message and you go to grab your phone and that's a reminder, oh, wait, I need to read God's message to me. I need to read the Bible. Or the next time you're stressed because you're caught up in traffic on Route 1, hello, and you want to look at your health app to see what your heart rate is. Well, what if instead when you go to grab your phone, you thought, okay, God, I'm going to give you all my stress. You're the one who helps me carry this through. Or the next time your boss is calling, ignore. I'm going to talk to my main boss instead. That's not for the people who work here. Okay, you answer the phone when the boss calls. But what if every time you go to grab your phone this week, that is your reminder to depend on God more than you depend on that phone? There's this guy in the Bible. You probably heard of him. His name's Paul. And Paul is a superhero in the Bible. And he had a problem in his life, and famously, he asked God 3 times to take his problem away. You ever had that before? You're like, God, will you take this credit card bill away? Will you take this health thing away? Will you take these kids away? Will you take the ex away? Smite him, Lord, make him pay. 3 times he asked God, hey, take away my problem. And guess what? God did not take away superhero Paul's problem. In fact, this is what God's response to Paul was. 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 9. God said, my grace is all you need, Paul. My power works best in weakness. In other words, God's like, hey, Paul, I want you to depend on me more than I want you to live a problem-free life. Whew. And then Paul responds with this. So now, I'm what? I'm glad to boast about my weaknesses so that the power of Christ can work through me. Paul was glad, he was happy those are the words for blessed. He felt blessed, and God didn't fix his problems. God didn't smite the X, y'all. Why is that possible? Because when you depend on God, happiness can bypass your problems. Let me say that again. When you depend on God, happiness can bypass those problems. It comes with depending on God. One of my favorite things to do on Sunday mornings is just chat with y'all at church, and when you're walking in. And I try to make it like so that you can't like avoid me at church. I post up at the top of the stairs and the bottom of the stairs. Come on, you guys, you know I'm always out there. Some of you are like, I've never seen you out there. And that's because you come to the 9:30 service, which we don't have, okay? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just glad you're here. No judgment. But sometimes you all will come to me and be like, hey, like, Joel, I have this problem. Like, what should I do? And I always show you what I do when there's a problem in my life that I don't know how to fix. And so I will just like actually lift my hand up like this. And so if you ever seen me out in the lobby and another person and we're just both there standing like this, you're probably like, what is the world? Should we put something in their hand? Like what? But what I'm doing is every time I don't know how to fix my problem, I just say, God, I'm giving this to you. I'm lifting it to you. I depend on you for this. And I physically do this. I'm just like in my car. So everybody, let's get weird. Everybody just think about whatever your problem is right now and just feels weird, doesn't it? Some of you are like, you think you're at the bank, like putting the thing up to shoot. But you are. You're kind of like saying, God, I'm taking this problem and I'm shooting it to you. I'm dependent on you. I need you. You're the one who I'm leaning on. You're the one who I depend on. So how do we take all our cares and our problems and give it to God? How do we deal with the impossible stuff in our life? How do we deal with that bill, that health thing, that ex, the kids? How do we deal with what we feel powerless over? And we just give it to him. The most famous sermon, Jesus starts out with this idea that blessed are the poor in spirit, i.e. those who depend on me. Those are the ones who will be happy. Those are the ones who will feel blessed and vicarious. Okay, next idea, and things are about to get spicy with this one. 3 ways we can say, yes, I am happy. Deal with the hurts that you're carrying. Deal with the hurts that you're carrying. So during this last 3 weeks, I haven't been speaking. I've been working on other things, just kind of taking a speaking break. But that meant our family got to come to church together. We rode to church together. We can't do that when I'm preaching because I get here early and I stay late. And so how many of you rode together as a family to church today? Okay, I just went through what you all experienced. And you're heroes, okay? I remember 2 weeks ago, we were coming to church, and on the way to church, I think we all needed to get saved on the way to church. There was arguing. There was, I think Stacy brake checked a little old lady from Connecticut or something. It was just like, it was unreal. But it was really great to come to church. And I remember 2 weeks ago, we were driving through Dewey, and I don't know what was going on in Dewey, but everybody at 8:30 in the morning was walking to the starboard. Like, you all get started early in Dewey. Like, what on earth? And there was some sort of event or something. There's all these police everywhere. Everybody's like walking to Dewey. And so like there's at all the crosswalks, which there's many, we just were stopping. And at one point, there was these people walking in front of our car. Stacy's driving, and we're going to church. But this person's walking in front of our car. And I saw this person, and I went, ugh. Stacy's like, what? I'm like, not about you, baby. I said, look who that is. Now, I got a pastor confess to you all. I know I'm a pastor. I'm supposed to be holy. All right, but I'm still a work in progress. How many of you know you're still a work in progress? Oh, yeah. I know you are. I was just making sure you knew you were. So I'm a work in progress, and I saw this person, and this person said some pretty mean, hard things to me like 10 years ago. And just like a lot of insults, not good. And so when I saw him, I didn't roll down my window and be like, hey, bud, how's the kids? Hey, have you seen that Duggars documentary? I don't know what it's about. Hey, be blessed, brother. No, I didn't do that. I said, ugh, out loud. Because I literally remember everything that person said. I'm like a human tape recorder. I got those insults saved to the cloud. You know what I'm saying? And I said, and you know what that made me realize? that I have a hurt inside that I did not deal with. And so have you ever not dealt with a hurt and it turns into Has ever happened to you before? Yeah, and I'm feeling convicted on the way to church. I didn't do it. Thanks, Starboard, But here's what I know. We all carry hurts. And hurts are not one size fits all. Hurts come in all different shapes and sizes, all right? There's decades-long disagreements, hurt. There's I lost a loved one, hurt. There's, my parents done messed up, hurt. There's I got the stupid ex, hurt. There's a business deal went wrong, hurt. Everybody say hurt. Hurt is not one size fits all. It comes in all different sizes and shapes. But here's what's the same about hurt. Undealt with hurt always hurts your happiness. Now, you might be like, well, okay, I don't know what to do about that. And you don't give me some like cutesy little thing, preacher guy. I need something more than that. How about some steps? Does steps sound okay? Can I give you like 4 quick little steps? Okay, you already walked down 23 steps to get in here, so high five, all right? 4 steps to deal with any kind of hurt, all right? The first one, we'll put it up here, is face your hurt, sit with your hurt, verbalize your hurt, and then keep moving after your hurt. All right, let's kind of break this down. You gotta face your hurt, all right? And so this is like you gotta get nose to nose with your hurt. Guys, we love to sweep it under the rug, push that thing down deep. But we gotta face our hurt. We gotta sit with our hurt, which means like pull up a chair. Take a little while. This might take a few minutes, maybe a few years to deal with some of our hurt. And then you gotta verbalize your hurt. Like, talk to somebody about the hurt that you're carrying in your life. Now, this isn't just anybody you talk to. Like, don't spill your beans to the checkout lady Aldi, okay? Because I'm behind you, and move it or lose it, sister. Okay, so like, but talk to somebody who loves you enough to listen to you, and he loves you enough to give you honest feedback. And then after that, keep moving. Keep moving after you're hurt. Come on, not to be confused with hurt the person who hurt you, like run over them like, at the Light and Dewey. I had a moment where I was like, should we hit the gas? Okay, no, don't do that. You keep moving. You keep getting better after the hurt. Now, I don't want to oversimplify it, but I do feel like this is how you deal with hurt. This is kind of like the word mourning. Everybody say mourning. Jesus brought up that word in the Beatitudes. This is verse 4. And Jesus says this, God blesses, which means Makarios, happy, blessed, to be envied, those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Now, the cynical side of me looks at this and is like, okay, Jesus, are you saying happy or the sad? Because am I in the matrix? That doesn't make any sense. And I don't think Jesus is saying happy or the sad. I think he's saying comforted are those that mourn. Mourning. That's what he's talking about. Comforted are those who mourn. Now, how do we mourn? We sit with our hurt. We face our hurt. We verbalize our hurt, and we keep moving after our hurt. And I don't know who this is for, but I think somebody needs to hear this, and so I put this on the screen in case you need to take a picture of this. If you want to be happy and comforted someday, you have to deal with your hurt and start mourning today. You got to face it. You got to deal with it. And I hate that you have to do that, but it's just the reality. If you don't want to carry this stuff around, you have to face that hurt and deal with it if you want to be happy and comforted someday. All right, last one, and then I'll get you to lunch. Lunch is minutes away, people. There it is. 3 ways we can say, yes, I am happy. Go through life knowing that you don't know it all. If you sit next to your spouse, say, you don't know. No, do not do that. Hey, I think there's 2 kinds of people in this world. All right, there's just 2 types of people. There's those of you who, when you go to a restaurant, you go because you know there's a deal. Like it's $8 burger night, or there's a happy hour, or there's a senior discount. Come on, how many of you like that senior discount? Come on. Yeah. So there's that group of people, and then there's those of you who you just order whatever you want off the regular menu. I know, I'm confused too. So how many of you are, you look for the special, you look for the deal, let me see your hands. 8 cheapskates in the room. I'm with you. How many of you just like, you didn't know there was specials. You just order whatever you want? Yeah, you all are reckless. That's what you all know. Me and my wife, we are the cheap people. All right, we're always looking for a deal. And so a few weeks ago on a Friday, my wife got off way early, and she called me, and she was like, honey, do you want to go to lunch? And I'm like, well, you smoke show? Yes, come on. And she said, well, get on the Google machine and see if there's a deal anywhere near our house. So I was like Googling all this stuff, and I found this place near our house that was 25% off at lunchtime. The only problem was it's 12 o'clock on a Friday in June. So she comes home, and she's like, did you find a spot? And I'm like, yeah, but we can't go because it's full. I'm like, I know it's full. And she's like, well, I'm off. We should try. And I'm like, okay, well, let's hurry up. Let's go. And, that's my wife's favorite thing when I'm like, come on, hurry up. And I'm like, come on. And anyway, I'm like, we're not going to get a spot, but we'll go just to see. And so I speed for the first time in my life. I park bad. I've squealed the tires in the parking lot. Like, I make her power walk in the place. You ever done that before? Make your spouse? Don't do it. All right, so I was like power walking in. I got in. I'm like, I'm sure there's no seats left, but we're here for the special. And the lady's like, okay, grab a chair wherever you want. And I look, and no lie, there's 4 people in the place. And they're looking at us like we're weird. They're like, what are you doing here? We're only the ones here on Friday. And Stacy looked at me and she's like, what's wrong with you? And I had this moment where I was like, oh no, I don't know it all, okay? But everybody say this, oh no, I don't know it all. And so humility, that's what that is, I don't know, I don't know. Humility is a powerful thing. And humility isn't just like having a moment where you're like, oh no, I don't know it all. It's living every day like, hey, I don't know it all. And guess who connected our happiness to our humility? Jesus, okay? Look at this. Matthew chapter 5, verse 5. Next verse. God blesses, Makarios, happy, blessed, those who are humble, for they will inherit the whole earth. Now, this word humble, this goes against everything in our culture, all right? In our culture, we think humility is weak sauce. Come on, you got to be strong if you want to be happy. You got to be confident if you want to be happy. You got to pull yourself up by the bootstraps if you want to be happy. And Jesus is like, nope, that way of thinking is weak sauce. Know-it-alls are not the happiest. It's the people who don't have it all together and know that and are humble. Humble people have happiness. Now, I want to show you that humility is not weak sauce. All right, this word humble right here. Can we go back to the verse real quick? You are so quick on it, which is so good. God blesses those who are humble. You see this word? All right, in Greek. All right, now you can go to the next one. In Greek, this word is praeus, not to be confused with Prius. Praeus means strength under control. Strength, which is how you know it's not a Prius. But good gas mileage. Anyway. Not a statement, I'm just having fun. But praeus means strength under control. In fact, the Greeks would use this word praeus to describe a stallion, a strong horse that had been broken. And so, humility is not weak sauce, it's strength under control. Humility isn't, thinking less of yourself, it's thinking of yourself less. Humility isn't, I can't do anything. No, it's saying, God, I don't want to do anything without you. Humility isn't zero self-confidence. It's 100% God confidence. Humility isn't just thinking, hey, I'm sorry. It's having the strength to pick up the phone and call somebody and say, hey, I'm sorry. It is strength under control. It is praeus. I'm going to end with this. A buddy of mine called me a while ago, and this buddy is not Bo Stinking Duke, so nobody be staring at Bo during this, okay? Different buddy. But this buddy called me, and this buddy used to be a part of our church and is since not been coming to the church and really went through some stuff in their life, and their life was not very summer vibey. You ever been there where life is just not great? So that's kind of what was going on with my friend, and so he stopped coming to the church, and I'm still a work in progress. I'm still trying to get better, but I was bummed out that he wasn't coming to church. I like to see my people in the basement. And so I was hurt a little bit about it. And he also was hurt that I didn't reach out and talk to him about it. Because men, we just push it down deep, put it way under the rug. So one day, he calls me and he says, Joel, I'm sorry. He said, I've 100% been avoiding you and avoiding the situation, and I just wanted to call you and say, I don't want this to come between us, and so I'm sorry. And has a sorry ever convicted you before? Has that ever happened to you? I went into the call like I was Vin Diesel, and he says, I'm sorry, and I turned into Chunk from the Goonies, I'm like, that's me too, man. And so I had that moment, I'm like, I'm sorry too. But it took strength for my buddy to make that phone call. He was stronger than the guy on the stage that day. And after he said, I'm sorry, you know what we both had? Happiness. I was like, come on, bust out the karaoke machine. I will sing Dr. Dre, even though I don't know the lyrics. I will put on the blue jumpsuit. I was happy. And when you show up with humility, happiness can show up. Humility is not weak sauce. It is strength under control. So quick question. Where do you need some humility in your life? How can you be more humble this week? For instance, maybe you're bitter about something. You have a good reason to be bitter, but maybe you choose happiness over bitterness and you pick up the phone this week because you're strong and you call and you say, hey, I'm sorry for my part on that. Or, maybe for you, you're the boss over a lot of people, but a humble boss is a better boss. Isn't that true? So maybe you're humble this week at work. Maybe you're the person who's like, I don't do no laundry. Ugh. Maybe today you do yourself some laundry. Come on, can I get an amen from somebody, an awkward amen? Yeah, come on, amen, yeah. I don't know where you could be humble, but I do know that when you're humble, you're a happier person, and when you're humble, everybody else around you is a little happier too. So let's put this all together, all right? This week, when you're stressed out, it's probably going to happen in 7 minutes when you're pulling on the Route 1 out here. When you're stressed out, instead of rolling down the Prius window and waving somebody with one finger in your Prius with a Bay Shore bumper sticker on. Okay, listen, don't do that. But instead, when you're stressed over something, God, I'm dependent on you. I'm giving this to you. I'm giving this bill thing, this health thing, this ex thing, this husband thing, this kid thing. I'm giving it to you. Maybe the next time you get a phone, you want to get on your phone, all right? You go to grab your phone. It'll probably also be in 7 minutes when you're waiting to get on Route 1. You're like, I guess I'll TikTok. Instead of grabbing your phone, just say, God, I'm going to depend on you. I depend on you for everything in my life. That's your reminder. And then, maybe you're driving to Dewey on the way home and you see that person who hurt you, okay? Don't hit the gas. You don't need to spend Sunday in prison, okay? But instead, maybe you have a moment where I got to mourn over that thing. I got to sit with my hurt. I got to face that hurt. I got to deal with that hurt, and then I got to keep moving after that hurt. I don't know what it is, but I do know it's summer, people. It is summer. You guys, we live in Delaware at the beach in the summer. We should be happy. There's nowhere else I'd rather be in the summer than right here, other than a tropical island. But besides that, and most of us, I know we have some visitors, most of us are blessed to live here. And so do you want to have some good summer vibes this summer? Does anybody want to have some good summer vibes? Okay, here's how you have good summer vibes. Just realize that you're blessed enough to live here, so you are Macarios. You should be happy. You should know you are blessed. You should know that you are to be envied, because we are living beatitudes, which means we are supremely blessed people. Everybody just say, I am supremely blessed. All right, let me pray for you. God, I'm so thankful that we are blessed. Even when what's happening in our life isn't all that happy, God, we can find you and we can depend on you. And God, I pray that we'll unhitch our happiness to it depends on whatever, and hitch our happiness up to depend on you. That's what it's all about. That's the only steady force in our life, and it is you, and we just lean on you for everything. God, we thank you for these kids that got dedicated today. Lord, I just pray for their path, that you will help them to walk to you, to know you, Lord. And I'm thankful that our church can be a place that can point these children to you, Jesus. We love you so much. God, we just pray that you'll bless us as we walk out of here and drive home. In Jesus' name. And everybody said, amen. Amen. Guys, thank you so much for being here. If you're a first-time guest, we have somebody out there to chat with you and a gift, and we'll see you guys next weekend.